So given the process and what's in it for the regional district of Kitimat-Sakine, what's in it for this board, what's in it for, while there is indeed the wonderful presentation of employment, the short term, after the short term, what do these people do? That's another critical point of it. What's in it for the regional district? There's struggles that we have in our region of varying kinds, as you can imagine. We have flooding issues. We have road issues. We have education. We have health. We have community building. And I know that your company has been fair in sharing resources that come from our area. And argument has been in the Northwest, and not only from Hope North, is that the resources coming from the North, and the Northwest in particular, this board has been on record to say, all the resources that have been extracted, sent overseas, sent back and bought by ourselves, really. And at the end of the day, the balance of the sharing of the end of the dollar, if you will, is something that I think warrants some look into. Because as governments, and I know that my two friends here with the MLAs, the true issue of balancing this resort, because we live, all of us here, in the area I represent in the Nass Valley, the boom and bust of the 60s, 70s, and 80s of our logging, our people are standing on the road now. They got nothing to do. There's no employment. The fishing is gone, and also, so the argument continues. So what is Alcan? What is Rio Tinto's plan, I guess, if you will, in the social economics of this? I understand what you presented, but at the end of the day, these that's why I asked, where does this board sit? I sit in London. So the dollars go offshore. And so if I'm talking the small guy in the business or lady in the business, and I see the terrace area, we have no men's store. We have very few ladies' stores. I mean, I'm a small business.
No, I understand.
And so you collect all this information, and then you run into some when you do want some kind of a commodity, you have to go to Prince George. You have to go to Vancouver.
But I'm not sure how smelter fits into that. I think what we do well is produce lots and lots of metal. And that's what we do well. And by doing that, we're still fortunate that we employ still, I think, a high level of people. So a new plant employing 1,000 people, I think a business, any business employing 1,000 people on one site is a significant benefit to any community. And those are long-term jobs. I mean, so I think there's two phases. There's three phases. We've got the business today. We have a business today, which for sure in the short term is struggling a bit. But nevertheless, it's a business that's been there 50 years. And it's employed many, many people, probably tens of thousands of people over its 50 years by the time we've cycled through. We currently have 1,500. Its impact is much greater than its direct employment. The service businesses that go around it have benefited from that. So I think there's a platform that you have there. Now the boom and bust, we agree. And we don't know how to do that. Now we can flatten that and build the smelter longer. It takes longer to build the smelter. But that in a sense has a negative business case. Or it did. Maybe it doesn't today. Maybe it's better to flatten and try and keep a greater local context for longer. So these good folks here are actually working longer. So the project doesn't come into fruition maybe in 30 months. Maybe it's 40 months. But I don't see how in building the smelter and then running the new smelter, if I don't build the new smelter, the old one will die. The old one is essentially at the end of its life. The challenge that we have for me is that we go from 1,500 people and directly employ to about 1,000. And that's not a small thing. But at the end of the day, if we maximize the generation that we have to produce metal using the best possible technology that secures 50 years. I think that's the best thing I can do, is to create an industry which is state-of-the-art, world-class, right here in the Northwest, with Northwest people. And I'm going to turn it on its head, and this is going to sound like a very old quote, but I'm not sure it's what I can do for you, maybe what you can do for business. Okay? I think it's a partnership. But if it's all, I'm not going to open a men's store, I'm not. But we might have employees that might need those things. And I mean, I don't like seeing Terrace the way it is either. We've only been here 6 years. Kitimat's exactly the same. But as businesses, I think we've got to be part of economic development. Okay, now if it's about how do we, and I hear the argument on the use of the resource and the cash not coming back. Well, actually, the cash does come back. It comes back in ways of taxation. That site, the site that we call Kitimat, puts back into British Columbia about $250 million to $270 million every year. Every year. So it's a balance. I mean, you know, in terms of a local government, a regional government representation, I think it's about creating the conditions where we're all successful. So the boom and bust, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to avoid the bust by having another project? Whether it's an RTA project or somebody else. How are we going to attract, what's the competitive edge of the Northwest? Kitimat, Terrace Valley, whatever you want to call it, to say, right, who else is going to come? So these folks here can continue. Because by nature of construction, it's up and it's down. And then you get to operations. So this is important, but so are the operational jobs. So I think my question to you would be, what have we got to do, and include us in that, to avoid the bust by having another project in 2014 through 2015, 2016, and another project? What is that? And I don't know. I'm not promoting. I'm not promoting these, but we've got liquefied natural gas. We've got the pipeline projects. They are all back to back and around about that time. The argument of good business or not, I have no clue. But nevertheless, they're the kind of things that people are looking at the north. So how do we get part of that? So good employment, good wages, that's what we bring. And have done for 50 years.
Okay.